Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Conroe ISD December 8th YouTube Live Update. My name is Curtis Null. I'm proud to be your Superintendent of Schools, and welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening, or those of you that most likely will be catching us on YouTube at a later date. This is a busy time of year, and so we welcome the opportunity to be live and have answers and questions and answers back and forth, but at the same time we know you're busy, and so we're also thankful that we can provide this opportunity for you to catch up with us at a later date. For those of you that are new to these YouTube updates, it's just our opportunity to really have conversation. We can go much more in depth into situations so that you can understand the hows and the whys that we do things, and that doesn't really come through in emails when we send that out. So we just enjoy this conversation. It's very informal. It's not scripted. It's just really a conversation amongst neighbors here, and so we're thankful that you're with us. I want to start off just by wishing you all the happiest of holidays. What a special time of year this is. I love this time of year. I am the guy that drives everyone crazy, I'm sure, here in our own office, because I'm the guy that starts listening to Christmas music on November 1st. I love it. I love the season. I love everything about it. There's a lot of joy in the community, and you feel that. And at the same time, we realize that this is a time of year that brings with it a lot of stress, and for some families that have suffered losses, a lot of sadness. And so I think as a community, what I really appreciate about this time of year is that we can all come together to support each other. And one of the words that I like to use a lot here within the school district is love. And I believe that this is a season that we can see that in abundance, and I certainly appreciate that. And so I hope that amongst all the busyness and running around and all that has to happen over the next few weeks as everyone gathers with family, is that you find time to really enjoy the peace and find joy in your life. Spend that extra time with family and enjoy it as we have these 2 weeks off. And I say that speaking both to you as parents, but also to our staff that's out there. You have certainly earned this time. You've done an amazing job for this first semester, and you have earned this time off. For me, I look forward to the same thing, having that extra family time. Both my kids will be home from college, and so that makes for a special moment in our house as we go from empty nesters to having 2 college-age children back in our house for the next few weeks. And so that'll certainly bring some energy back to our house, but also bring us so much joy. And speaking of busyness, boy, have we been busy around here since the last time we talked in early October. So much has gone on in the school district, in our community, everywhere. And so I want to start tonight by just talking about some of those exciting events and sharing a lot of good news with you, sharing some great pictures along the way. And we'll start by showing our new school boards. We had a board election in November. We welcomed some new school board members, and they actually met earlier this week, and they reorganized to elect their leadership positions. And so this is our board of trustees now. Our board president, Mr. Skeeter Hubert, he will be returning as board president. So he has served the last 2 years as president and has signed on and agreed to serve as president again for the next 2 years. Our first vice president, Ms. Teresa Wagaman. Stacy Chase is our second vice president. Mr. Datron Williams, our secretary. And then our 3 new board members, Melissa Dungan will serve as assistant secretary. Ms. Tiffany Nelson will serve as trustee, and Ms. Misty Odenweller as well, serving as a trustee. So we welcome our new board members. As we've talked about numerous times here, being a board member is a hard job. It is a volunteer position. They receive no pay, requires a lot of hours, a lot of effort. And so we appreciate the time that they all put in to serve our community. So welcome to our new board members. Thank you for those board members that are returning. We'll look forward to working with them in the future and having a great year and years to come with our school board. Now, we've also continued to earn some accolades as a school district, and we celebrate those. And I think I saw a new billboard that looks similar to this just across the street from our office, but niche.com has come out with their annual rankings of school districts, and Conroe ISD was named the best school district in Montgomery County, the most diverse school district in Montgomery County, the best place to teach in Montgomery County, and the best district for student athletes in Montgomery County. So we add those great accolades on to our Forbes Award as being one of the best employers in the state of Texas, and we have much to be proud of here in Conroe ISD. So thank you to our community for allowing us to serve you. As a public school system, we are simply a mirror that is held up in front of a community. And we are fortunate that we are standing in front of such a great place, and it allows us to be so successful and to receive those accolades. So thank you for those. And I think we should all celebrate that as a community, because we're all responsible for awards like that. Now, another great thing happened since we last talked. The Houston Astros were world champions. So congratulations to our Astros. Certainly that's exciting that we could celebrate the Astros. You saw campuses throughout the district wearing their Astros gear, both during the World Series and after the World Series. And so we celebrate with the Astros. The Astros win did also bring an opportunity for some humor around here, because some people wanted us to be closed the day for the parade, and we understand that. You might want to go down to celebrate it, but anytime we have situations where we may or may not close, our students typically in the Instagram world provide us with a lot of entertainment as they provide their commentary on our decisions. And I tell you that I tend not to read too many social media comments, because, as you know, social media can always not be so friendly. But maybe the meanest thing ever was said to me over the Astros parade. Somebody actually called me a Yankees fan. And as a lifelong Houstonian, I took great offense to that. I am a huge Astros fan. I'm just also a fan of having school. And so we didn't close for the parade, but that doesn't make me a Yankees fan or a Phillies fan. Very happy that the Astros won, and glad that we could celebrate that as a community. And for you young people, I can tell you, as a man who has been here for almost 50 years in the Houston area, don't take those championships for granted. They don't come around real often. I know in your lifetime those Astros have been really good, but it hasn't always been the case. So I hope that everyone did get a chance to celebrate and enjoy that Astros World Series championship. Now, one of the things we talked about back in October, we talked about the challenge that transportation was having. So our transportation system, and we're still needing more bus drivers. So if you have folks that might be interested in that, we'd encourage you to send them our way. But tonight I want to just talk to you about some celebrations in our transportation department. So we met with many great bus drivers, and they gave us some ideas of things that we could do. And so we created a new incentive system for attendance in our transportation department. We've seen that really paying dividends, and so that helps us. That it helps you as we have more regular bus drivers driving routes, the more successful we are on a daily basis. Mr. McCord shared that with us in our October visit. We also have now provided our bus drivers with new shirts. So you may notice that as you see in your bus drivers traveling around, that they have some great new shirts with the CISD Transportation logo. And we so appreciate our bus drivers. This is a wonderful time of year, as any time of the year is, to tell them thank you. But what a great opportunity we have right now to really thank our bus drivers for the work that they do. And they look great. Actually had a chance to visit with one of our bus drivers today. On my way into work, I stopped at a convenience store, saw one of our bus drivers, bus 1019. We'll give a shout out. And we had a great visit, and she looked great in her new shirt. And we got to talk about that. And so we're fortunate to have people who really see driving the bus as their calling and their way to serve our community. So thank you to our transportation department. And we're really excited about the changes that we've made and that are helping us to keep moving forward. We also had a week that was known as Generation Texas Week. And so you saw different activities and career day type activities throughout the school district. And it generates maybe the cutest pictures you'll ever see. As you see here, just kids dressed up in what they hope might be their future careers. And what a great opportunity for us to talk to kids about the future and talk about what they may want to be when they grow up, knowing good and well, as all of us through experience, that may change a million times before they actually reach adulthood. But it's healthy to have those conversations starting even at a young age, as it not only builds curiosity for them intellectually, but it also builds in respect for professions. As you saw, many of those students dressed up as police officers or members of our armed services, and what a great way for them to learn respect for those positions. So we appreciate that week. It's always fun. We have a lot going on in the construction world here in Conroe ISD, building a lot of buildings, and as the weather has finally cooled off a little bit and our construction has continued to move forward, we had a chance to go out and visit a few of our construction sites. Show you just a couple behind the scenes images here. These are not pictures that have necessarily been shared out there, but this interior photo here is of the new construction at Conroe High School. So this is the new gym at Conroe High School. You'll remember the Conroe High School project is a very large project, taking a long time, but it's nice to see when we keep making progress, and hopefully this area of Conroe High School will be turned over for student use sometime around spring break or a little after spring break. Hopefully we'll be able to use that. On that same day, we toured Conroe High School. We went out and made a trip to the new Moorhead Junior High School. So we're building a new junior high in Moorhead in Caney Creek Feeder. It's directly behind Caney Creek High School. It's replacing the current Moorhead Junior High. And what we're seeing here is a view of the library. So you can see it's making great progress. This building will open next year. And these pictures are a few weeks old now, so it's progressed even further than this today. So making great progress. And then finally we went down to the Grand Oaks Feeder, and we saw Hines Elementary School, Chris Hines Elementary, being built in the Woodson's Reserve subdivision. Another building that will open for student use next year. Making great progress, looks beautiful. A great setting there in the Woodson's Reserve neighborhood for a new school. So it's nice to see great construction photos for us here. It's nice to be able to go out and actually walk in those facilities and see that progress. Our Director of Planning and Construction, his name is Easy Foster. He has a great team of people that manage all of our construction, and they do a fantastic job, not only of making sure that we get buildings built with high quality and they're turned over on time, but they also make sure that for us as taxpayers, we get the best value possible for what we're paying to make sure that our money is well spent. So we thank Mr. Foster and his team. They are outstanding. Now we go back to that conversation about appreciation of our veterans and armed forces and first responders, and we were able to celebrate our veterans in November with our annual Veterans Day ceremony. So you may be familiar with ceremonies that occur on campuses. Many of our campuses have events, but we also have a district-wide event that occurs at Woodforest Bank Stadium, and we have all of our high school junior ROTC programs come out. We bring in some of our younger elementary age kids to come and be a part of that celebration. It is a wonderful event. We actually stream it live. It is on our YouTube channel now, so if you did not get a chance to watch it, you could go back and watch that event, and we would encourage you and any veteran that you know to come out. You don't have to be a veteran to attend the event. It's a way for us to come out and celebrate our veterans. So we would encourage you to come out and be a part of that. So that was really a wonderful day for us. One of the more exciting things that additions to one of our Conroe ISD campuses this year has been a partnership between the Montgomery County Food Bank and Conroe ISD. With the help of funding from Amazon, we opened a new food pantry at Travis Intermediate. And this, you can see here in this photo, just a beautiful food pantry, and pictured there is the Montgomery County Food Bank President and CEO, Christine Marlowe, and she is pictured with members of the Montgomery County Food Bank Board of Directors, and I'm proud to serve as one of the Board of Directors of the Food Bank, in addition to my role here with the school district. And so we were able to pose for this picture, but this will be a food pantry where kids can come in and help shop actually for the food that they will take home to their families, and we're really happy with that. We're thankful to Amazon for their funding. We're thankful to the food bank for the partnership that we have with them that helps us to bring those most basic needs to our kids. Hungry children can't learn, and so we want to make sure that our children have the nourishment that they need, and at the same time we know the stress that a mother or a father can feel if they feel like they don't have enough food to give to their children. So it's a way that we can all work together as a community to kind of put our arms around each other and make sure that we take care of each other. And part of that is understanding that there are times in life when we may need help, and it's okay to ask for help in those situations, because we live in a community that wants to be helpful and wants to serve. But it's also equally important to know that when you are in a position that you can help others, that you should do that. And so you also see a lot of that this time of year, where our students are coming together to do toy drives. They do drives for coats. They do drives for stuffed animals. You'll see a variety of things. You see, great student representation here of kids collecting items for other kids that may need things. You may see collections of blankets or clothes for the homeless. A variety of ways that we teach children how to be philanthropists and how to give back to each other. But it's not just our kids. Our staff go above and beyond to do this as well. And one great example of that is our Conroe ISD Police Department. They come to work every day and their purpose is to protect us, and they do a wonderful job of that. But they also understand that their role is also to serve. And so pictured here, you'll see with the Tide Dry Cleaners, our police department does a coat drive every year to make sure that we have coats available when a school identifies a child that may not have a winter coat. We do this coat drive so that we can help provide a winter coat to that child. Additionally, our police do a giant toy drive every year where they collect toys and gifts for teens and all the way through children in our school district. Our counselors identify families that may be in need, and then our police department helps to provide gifts. That's a great way to give back. If you're looking for a way to donate, you want to make a difference in our community this time of year. Donating to that toy drive is certainly a great way. You're thinking about community donations, how might you give? The Montgomery County Food Bank is a great way to give because all that money stays local as well, much of it coming right back here into our school. So it's just great to see that example of kids, feeling comfortable about receiving when it's necessary, learning how to give when you can, our staff being great examples of that, CISD police, but also the teachers. For all of those pictures of children that you see doing those projects, there is a team of teachers and staff members behind them that are helping to set that up, that are making a huge difference. So we say thank you for doing that. It's a wonderful thing. Let's see. Well, we have had great events. Like I said, I love the holidays. And as a principal, when I was a principal, the Christmas concerts were my favorite concerts of the year. Loved going and hearing all of the traditional music that we would hear, celebrating all the holidays. Hear great Hanukkah music. You hear a variety of music from all across the world here at a holiday concert. So we really enjoy that. And maybe my favorite fine arts, performing arts event of the year occurred just last week. It's called the Holly Jolly Jingle. And this is a partnership between Conroe ISD and the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion. And this provides an opportunity for our students to go and perform at this world-class venue. It allows families to come out for free to come hear these great performances. They have many activities for families. Once again, it's completely free, and it's a great event. I would encourage you in the future, if you can go, you should go. And I know any event in the wintertime, as we approach the end of the semester, it's hard to attend because there's so many competing events. I know just at the night that we had Holly Jolly Jingle, there was a large market event going on and a parade going on down at Grand Oaks. There was, I think, a choir concert at McCullough. So there's a lot of competing interest on those nights. But I would encourage you families, Holly Jolly Jingle next year, we'll make sure that we advertise it really strongly. It's just the best show. And we talked about streaming it maybe next year if we can find a way. We run into some issues with copyright of music and how do we stream. So those are hurdles we're going to have to try to figure out. We're going to effort to do that over this next year before we get to next year's Holly Jolly Jingle. But I just want to highlight a few of the things that went on there. So, performing out in the I guess what you'd call the concourse areas before you go into the seating area. We had a lot of our junior high programs, so choirs and orchestras, bands perform. We had a mariachi band from the Woodlands High School perform out there. Wonderful. And then when you moved into the large arena there at the Pavilion, you had Caney Creek's Jazz Band, played a great prelude to the program. And then as you get into the meat of the program, the Woodlands High School orchestra, unbelievable as always. They have a finale that's kind of a Mannheim Steamroller, Trans-Siberian Orchestra type piece with a electric violin that is unbelievable. We had a full symphony from Grand Oaks that was amazing. We had Oak Ridge High School with a combined symphony and choir performance that was just absolutely beautiful, and I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Let's see, who else did we have? We had College Park there with their orchestra, and I will tell you, I actually called their principal that night. They had one of the most beautiful performances I've ever heard of a piece of music by a high school performing arts group. They had a cellist who was just gifted and played alongside with the piano, and then the whole orchestra joined them on a piece that was just absolutely amazing. I actually had staff members from the Pavilion call me prior to the event when they heard rehearsals the day before. Grown men called me and said, that piece made me cry, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear it. And I felt that evening. So it's that level of performance. If you close your eyes sitting in the Pavilion with any of those groups performing, you would believe that you were listening to the Houston Symphony. I mean, that's the level that these kids perform at, and so it's really wonderful. Moving on into these last couple of weeks, I've had an opportunity with our new board members. As each board member comes on, I get the opportunity to tour the district with each new board member. So I've spent 3 days in the last, 7 or 8 school days, a full day with each of the new board members and just visiting schools. And these are, there's no big plan, and we just kind of go in and we spend 15 or 20 minutes in the schools that we can visit. Obviously, we can't visit all 65, so we have to kind of pick and choose as we move around. But I've just been so impressed. I'll tell you, I get proud every time I walk into a building. I cannot say enough great things about our teachers. The environment that you feel when you walk into our buildings, and I say this universally because it doesn't matter. We visit schools in the Caney Creek feeder, Conroe, for every single feeder. We visit schools. You walk in, you feel a loving and nurturing environment where kids are happy to be there. Kids are being successful, and you can feel that. One of the things that really touches me as an educator is the great instruction that I see in every building. You can go from an elementary school in one feeder and you see this great small group instruction where they're really meeting the needs of every individual student. And then you can go to an elementary that's 30 minutes away and walk in and see with fidelity the exact same great research-based instructional strategies that are making all the difference in the world. And you just see our kids being successful regardless of what school they're at. And that really touches me as an educator. That happens because we have great teachers, and they spend the amount of time planning and talking to each other and working with each other, and we're fortunate to have that. So I just love it. And then, for me also, this time of year, we'll pop in upon occasion and hear, performing arts groups. We might walk in and hear the choir and say, can you sing us something? And to just stand there and hear those children's voices singing, it really makes the world feel right. When we can know that there's a lot of things wrong in the world, and hopefully you've been able to experience that. You've gone to your children's concerts, but to hear a child's voice or to hear a child playing, a stringed instrument or a brass instrument or whatever it may be, it really does make you feel like all is right in the world. And so I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed those visits, enjoyed hearing those kids perform. They're unbelievably talented, and so I've loved that. And one of the other visits that happen, maybe it's one of the best parts of my job, truthfully, is I know this guy called Reader Man. Know him pretty well. Reader Man is part of our kindergarten curriculum. What Reader Man does is Reader Man helps kindergartners find their reading superpowers. So it helps these precious little children become great readers. And Reader Man had a fancy costume that was actually designed and constructed by a student in one of our fashion design classes at Oak Ridge High School last year. And so Reader Man gets to visit and read a book and talk about reading superpowers with kindergartners. And that's it. It really, I say, there's many things that I say it's the best part of my job. But when you can go with Reader Man to a school and talk about reading with 5 and 6 year olds and see how excited they are to read, and how far they've come already. It's not even winter break yet in their kindergarten year, and already to see what they can do and to see how excited they are. Once again, it all goes back to the teachers, that what they are instilling in the children, and what you are doing at home. Parents, to read to your children every night is so important, because that's what's feeding them and having them want to read. So if you have a kindergartner, know that it's making a difference, and we talk about those reading superpowers, and they're all superheroes because they are going to be great readers and they have reading superpowers. So we love the opportunity to be Reader Man and go out and enjoy our campuses each day with that. We had a new event. I know I told you this is a lot. Like, we've been really busy, but it's been a while since we talked. We had a new event as our Realtor Course. This was the first time that we had done this. We invited about 150 realtors to come in and learn about Conroe ISD. We had an opportunity to share with them an overview of the district. All of our high school principals had a chance to come and talk about the great things that are occurring at their high schools, and they did a fabulous job. We had panel discussions with athletics and fine arts and CTE, GT, bilingual education, so many really great experts. And I'll tell you, when you sit in that room and hear them all talk, you understand why our programs are so great, because the leadership in each of those programs is really outstanding. So perhaps you know somebody that attended that event. I would encourage you to ask them about it and what did they learn. But it was a huge success. Our feedback on our exit survey was really strong. We will definitely be doing it again. They felt like it was very worthwhile. We actually already have about 60 realtors on a waiting list for our next event. And so perhaps you're a realtor, you know one. If you weren't able to attend, hopefully you will be able to attend the next time, because we think there's a lot of great information that you would want to know as you're going out, traveling across the district, as folks that are moving here may want to talk about. So we enjoyed that. And then last thing I'll just mention is an event that hasn't happened yet, but it will happen next week. It's the most important thing we do, and that's graduation. So we celebrate graduations in May. That's our traditional time, but we also have a summer graduation that occurs in August, and then we have a December graduation as well, because students sometimes are on their own journey, and they may be finishing a little later than they had planned, and sometimes they're finishing a little earlier than they had planned. So we make the effort to have a celebration for them when each semester. So we will have that celebration on Monday night. We look forward to being with those families and those seniors. It's always an honor for me to be on that stage and shake the hand of a Conroe ISD graduate, and we'll get that chance on Monday night. So congratulations to all of you who may be graduating this week. And we know that the May graduations will be here before we know it. So seniors, don't rush your senior year. If you have one more semester, please enjoy that last semester, and we'll look forward to seeing you in May. Wow, a lot, right? Awesome. Our world here is just like everybody else's world. So much going on, but so many great things. So many great things going on here in Conroe ISD. We look back to our October conversation. We talked about the themes for the year. What are our themes for this year? Well, our themes for the year are safety and growth. Those are the things that we've really been trying to manage. And I'll just give you a quick update on safety. We are doing very well with safety. So TEA has started their safety audits. We talked about that last month as well. We have now had 12 schools audited, and there have been no findings. We've been told that it will be impossible to get through all 60 plus of our campuses and not have at least one finding. And that's, if we have a situation where we have a finding, we'll view it as an opportunity to get better, and we'll make the corrective action. But to this point, we've been able to have 12 and have no findings. One of the things that I've noticed on my tours as I go out and visit schools is I always check. I'll check doors, and the doors are locked. And as we're walking around the buildings to go into classrooms, those doors are locked. The principals, we have to get our keys out to get into the classrooms, and that's perfect. So it's not convenient, but it's safe. And so I really applaud the campuses for the work that they're doing to go above and beyond what is convenient to make sure that our students are safe and that our staff is safe. So we're thankful for that. We continue to hire more and more police officers as well, and more crossing guards. Crossing guards are a part of the safety team that we don't always talk about, but we say thank you to them, because keeping our children safe as they come to and from school is just as important as keeping them safe when they're in the buildings. And so we're thankful for our crossing guards and the work that they do. And the point here is safety is a large continuum. It's not just about being concerned about an active shooter situation, but it's to and from school, it's car line safety, it's bus safety, it's all the things that make that up. And I want to talk about a few of those tonight that maybe we haven't talked about as much. The first one I want to talk about is vaping. Vaping is a serious issue that we're dealing with. It's not unique to Conroe ISD. Everyone is dealing with it, but parents, it's important that you educate yourself about vaping. It's not only a health hazard, but it can have really serious implications on your child's future. If a child was caught with a vape that actually had THC oil in the vape, that is a felony in the state of Texas. Having a felony on your record can really change your path in life. It may make it where you can't live in a dorm in college, or it may have plenty of other consequences after high school. So it's important that you're having conversations with your kids about vaping and how you feel about that as a family, to make sure that your children are both safe and don't find themselves in legal trouble as well. But our campuses are doing all they can to keep that out of the school, but we need your help to be monitoring that at home as well. One of the other really concerning safety issues right now across the nation, across the state, is fentanyl. Now, you've heard these conversations about this as a synthetic opioid type drug. The problem with it is very, very strong. So you can see a lethal dose of fentanyl might be as small as the tip of a pencil. And oftentimes fentanyl may show up in drugs when even the student had no idea that it would be there. So 99% of the fentanyl overdoses are accidents. So one pill, even if it's not a fentanyl pill, it could be a different type of pill that someone has laced with fentanyl, could be enough to kill you. And unfortunately, we have had this tragedy in Conroe ISD. We've experienced this firsthand. We've seen the pain. We've felt the pain of the families that have dealt with this. We don't want to see this with any other families. And so, once again, I encourage you, these are hard family conversations to have, but we need to have those. And this is about school safety as well. We don't want to bring in any items into the school. We don't know what they are. Any illegal drugs in our schools. And it's not just about what occurs in school, but also out of school. And right now is a perfect time, parents, to be really thinking about this. Right? We know our kids are about to have 2 weeks where they're going to be at home, and they're going to have a lot more free time. And so this is really, I think, an important time for you to have those conversations about your expectations and how you feel about these type things, what you expect your children to do. Arm them with the right things to say, the right way to walk away if they are faced with any of these situations in the future. We don't want to see any more of our Conroe ISD students or anybody in our community impacted by either vapes or fentanyl or any type of illicit drug. So I encourage you to really have those conversations, because it's part of safety. Another big part of safety is just the items that we bring into school every day. Now, we live in a community where people love to go hunt and do those things. I think that's wonderful family activities for you all. But one of the problems that we run into is we have backpacks that are used all week long to go to school, and then on the weekends we empty the backpack of the schoolwork, and we load it up and we take it to the deer lease, and we use it as our hunting backpack, and then we come back and we forget to make sure that we've cleaned everything out on Sunday night before we put all of our school items back in, and we go to school. And sometimes we have situations where a round of ammunition was left in and it was an accident. There's no need, nobody was intending to bring an item like that to school, and yet we're still going to communicate that it happened with you all, and it still causes alarm for a lot of people. And so the best way that we can make sure that we don't have to upset people and have everyone worry is just to make sure those items never come to school. So be it checking backpacks if they're used for multiple reasons, or just having conversations even with your younger children about what is appropriate to bring to school. We have situations sometimes where, maybe a child just they love the new hunting knife that they were given and they just wanted to come show it to their friends. They can't do that at school, or a variety of different things like that. So please, just, especially if you have little ones that may not understand, is to talk to them about, hey, we don't take things to school for show and tell unless we have cleared that through mom and dad first. We make sure that we know what's going to school. But that all of those things, they fall in the safety continuum. And certainly, we don't bring firearms to school in any way, even toys, and that's one of those challenges that sometimes younger kids have, is that they have toy weapons at home that are appropriate for their play, but they're just not appropriate in the school setting. We have to make sure that they don't come into our building. So we appreciate your help with that. We know that's something that we all want to be conscious of, keeping our kiddos safe every day. So the second piece of that giant theme that we've talked about is growth. And I know we all feel it. We came here in October, we talked about our current enrollment, and back in October, on the 3rd, our enrollment was 70,756 students. Today, our enrollment is 70,903. So we're up about 150 students just from October. So you can see that we continue to grow each and every day. We actually only budgeted this year for 69,400. So we've reached a point now where we are more than 1,500 students over what we budgeted for this school year. So we feel that strain as we've added more and more teaching positions. We continue to try to find great teachers, but that is a strain on the system. It's a strain in your world too, as you feel our schools. We're well over now 102% capacity district-wide in our buildings. That makes your car rider lines full. It makes attendance at the fine arts programs overcrowded, and open houses. We know you feel all that, and we know it's hard. And so that has led us to conversations as a district about how will we solve for this growth that we've experienced and for future growth. Well, those conversations start with a demographic study. A demographic study is where we hire a company to come in and take a look at all the neighborhoods that are coming and help us to understand if, is this growth going to continue? What are their projections for us for the future? And those may drive future bond decisions for our school district. And so I'm going to go to our website here. I want to show you some information straight off of our website. You can go and see it for yourself here in the future. But if you go right here on the home page, you're going to see a brand new button that has just appeared this evening. You're going to see Bond Planning Committee in Conroe ISD with the little map of the school district. And if you click that, it will take you to this page. This page shows you our growth over the last few years. You can see on this chart here how we have grown and really how it spiked. You can also see our bond history there of a bond back in 2015 and then our 2019 bond as well. And we're going to roll down a little bit. I'll try not to go so fast as to make anybody dizzy. But these two graphics here are indications from our demographic study. And if you look at this, you will see there on the left that our projected enrollment is in 2032 is somewhere around 100,000 students. So today we are at roughly 71,000, and you can see there that our demographic study has estimated us to be between 89 and 120,000 students. So they give us a low estimate, a middle estimate, and a high estimate. So that middle estimate of right at 98, just over 98,000, or closing in on 100,000 is a daunting number. What I will tell you is in our previous two demographic studies, we have grown faster or more than their middle estimate has been. We've actually grown more than their high estimate has been. So when you view it through that lens, there is a real potential that we could be well over 100,000 students in 10 years. So that is certainly eye-opening. At 120,000 students, that would move us up from the 9th largest school district in the state, probably pushing us into the top 3 or 4 as far as size goes in the state of Texas. So the growth is not going to slow down. What we thought maybe was a post-COVID bump and that we may move back into growing at 1,500 students per year or so does not appear to be the case. It appears that we are going to continue to grow at a rate of 3,000, 4,000 students per year. That is a change for us as a community. That means we've been in a pattern recently of opening 1 or 2 new schools a year. We may move into a pattern of opening 3 or 4 new schools in a year. The map on the right is a heat map. And what that does is show you where this growth will occur. So the darker the red, that's more growth than the orange and the yellow. So you can see here, and I'll just point out a few things. Here in the upper left, that's Conroe High School feeder. Certainly a lot of growth will continue in the Conroe High School feeder. As we move to the east, our very northeast corner up here, portions of the Caney Creek feeder are going to continue to grow at a very high rate. Once again, here the far east side, a red area of high growth in the Caney Creek feeder. And then down off the 242 corridor, once again, still in the Caney Creek feeder. Multiple new neighborhoods there, Artavia, Mavera, Evergreen, large master plan communities being built presently there. Additionally, you still see some high growth in Harper's Preserve and here in the Oak Ridge feeder as well. As you move down here into the Grand Oaks feeder, you can see the Woodson's Reserve continuing to grow at a high rate. This very bottom tail here in the yellow is an area that will develop one day, and when it develops, it's going to have thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of homes. It's at the very back of the Grand Oaks area. It's unclear at this point if it'll be developed in the next 5 or 10 years. It may be further down the road, but that's an area we're going to have to really watch because if it actually begins to develop sooner, then our growth will come faster. As you move to the Woodlands, you see the Woodlands is primarily built out, but there are still pockets and areas on the 1488 corridor, still some off of 242 where you're going to see more houses being built. So this information was shared with our board this week, and this has led us to a conversation about forming a bond planning committee. So this is a committee of citizens that would come together to not only consider this demographic study and new growth with potential new schools, but we have over 60 existing schools that need to be considered as well. Some of our older schools have needs. Even our schools that may be 30 years old, they have mechanical needs where they need to come in and have air conditions considered and looked at to see if maybe the mechanical systems need to be updated. Those are the type of decisions that a bond planning committee would make. And so the school board authorizes the bond planning committee to go out and really study all of these issues and then come back to the board and make a recommendation on if we will have a bond or not, and if we are going to have a bond, what might be included on that bond. And then ultimately our school board will make a decision on if they will put a bond referendum on the ballot, and if so, what would be included. So we understand at this point the potential bond election day would be November of 2023. And so that's how we're working forward. Now, if you are interested in being on the bond planning committee, we would love to have you. We want to have a large committee from our community to be a part of this process. So we would have, you can see the meeting dates here. They're going to be in the evening. It is a large commitment, but we want 150 to 200 citizens to be a part of this committee. Not only adults, we'd love to see some kids on this committee. So we hope to have maybe 8th graders and above. We'd like to have some students. We need that student voice in the room. So if you would like to be a part of the committee, if you roll down to the bottom of this page, you can see a place where you can sign up. So we're going to ask for your name and your email and your phone so that we can contact you. But then we also would like to get just some information from you because we want to build a committee that is diverse. We want employees, we want parents, we want business owners, we want citizens that may or may not have kids in the schools. We want to know what grade level your kids are in. We want to know where you live. What part of the feeder zone, part of the school district do you live in? Which feeder zone do you live in? So you can fill all of that out and submit it. And then if we have multiple, let's say we have 400 people sign up to be a part of the bond planning committee, then we would do a drawing to select who would be a part of this. All meetings will occur in the Jet Center, which is located at Woodforest Bank Stadium, so it's kind of central to the district. This is a great process. I think it's a very rewarding service. If you've always wanted to know more about the school district or how bonds work, or this is a great chance for you to be a part of this. Now, I would caution you, if you are somebody that would be inclined to come into the bond committee and simply say yes to every single item that's presented, you might not be the right person to be on the committee, because the bond committee is probably going to see about $3 billion worth of need. Well, we cannot afford to do $3 billion worth of work. So we're going to have to say no to a lot of things. So you have to be able to say no to a lot of things. At the same time, I would say if you're somebody that is inclined to just come in and say no to everything, once again, this may not be the right committee for you to be on, because there may be items that need to have yeses said to them through the bond planning process. So we want people that really want to come in, study the work, make hard decisions, and put in the time doing their homework and having great conversation in the bond committee. So I hope that you will really consider serving in this capacity, and maybe talk it up with your friends so that we can have more and more folks be involved. I want to go back, just a couple more things I want to point out on the website, if I can. One of the questions on here is, am I representing a group or organization? So, perhaps you are the president of the Ag Booster Club, and you want to have the Ag department's voice. So you would check yes there, and if you check yes, it's going to ask you, what organization. So perhaps you're with some type of a political organization, or a PTA, or a booster club. This is an opportunity for you to put that in, because we want to make sure that we have representation of all groups on the committee. Additionally, I'm going to roll back up, trying to go slow so that I don't make everybody dizzy. Here on the website, in this orange box, you can see that you can access, the whole world can access, our demographic study. What I would caution you on, and there's a reason that we put this on here, it is 308 pages long. So please don't just open it and hit print. That's not the move you want to make. But it is there. Maybe you're a business owner, or you want to share it with your company, and it's useful information for you all. Feel free to use it. It belongs to the community. So please use the demographic study. We want this entire process, this entire bond process, to be completely transparent, and we want as many voices in the room and at the table as possible. So please come be a part of it. The numbers are staggering. You heard me say earlier, $3 billion is a lot of money of need, right? And we will not be bringing a $3 billion bond, I can assure you of that. But when you look around at other local districts, Montgomery ISD, our neighbors to our west, they passed a bond back in May. It was $327 million. Now, proportionally speaking, from their size to our size, $327 million in Montgomery is equal to $2.5 billion in Conroe, from their size to our size. Now, our neighbors out to our east here recently in Splendora, in November, they just passed $201 million in Splendora. They have 5,000 students in Splendora. We have 71,000 students. Once again, proportionally speaking, their $201 million in Splendora would be equal to $2.9 billion in Conroe ISD. The numbers are staggering. Our numbers are always staggering because of our great size. So we need to take this process very seriously. We need to be diligent as we attack this. We're going to make sure that we come back to you. This is the first kind of overview conversation I'm having with you about this. I will continue to talk to you about this throughout the bond planning process. And then if the decision is made to put it on the ballot, we'll make sure that we have every opportunity to come back here present the information to you, give you an opportunity to ask all your questions through this format, but also having community meetings, because we want you to be engaged, we want you to be involved. We do not want you to get to a point in November, if you're asked to vote, and feel like you have not received all the information that you need to make your decision on how that you would vote in that bond referendum. So it's going to be public, transparent. It's going to be quite a process. So that's growth. So much going on with growth, and the bond web page is up and running. Please encourage folks to go in and fill that out. Now, a big item always for discussion is calendar. We're fortunate tonight to be joined by our local calendar expert on many items here in Conroe ISD. And this is Dr. Hedith Sauceda-Upshaw. Dr. Upshaw, welcome to our YouTube Live.
Thank
happy
you,
to
Dr.
have you.
Null.
You know, as part of this process of coming to visit, you've had a chance to meet so many of our great people in Conroe ISD, and Dr. Upshaw is somebody that you should know. You need to know her because she has a great story here in Conroe ISD. She's made a tremendous impact for years and years. And would you like to tell us a little bit about your history here and just about you?
Thank you very much, Dr. Null. So I was hired into this school district at the age of 19 by Mr. Walter P. Jett. We have a building named after him now. As a bilingual education teacher, I was privileged to be able to teach bilingual education in our district at several schools. I was also a high school assistant principal, then became principal at Runyon Elementary, and I've served in different capacities as bilingual director, curriculum director, and now as assistant superintendent for teaching and learning.
Yeah, and that's a huge job. If you don't know, all of the curriculum, all of the professional development, it all falls under the umbrella that Dr. Upshaw is in charge of, but including all those things is the school calendar.
The best thing we do.
It's the school. We spend so much time talking about the school calendar, you would not believe it. We have committees and everything that considers it. So you talk a little bit about our process, just the committee. Who is the committee that looks at the school calendar, and what does that look like? How does it get built?
So the district level decision-making and planning committee is the one that has this responsibility in our district. So they usually start about October. And so they spend October all the way to January, which their ultimate responsibility is to discuss with us survey options, calendar options, and then also how many times and responses we want to receive from the committee. And then they will then make a recommendation to the school board, hopefully at the January board meeting.
Yeah, so we've bumped that up. We used to do it in more like February. We know that you all are out there making plans and you need to know as fast as you can. So we've tried to bump it to January. So that district level planning and decision-making committee, it's made up of teachers, parents, community members, business members, and central office staff were there to help as well. So there's a lot of voices in the room. I know that you all have seen multiple surveys go out asking questions about the school calendar as well. I know one of the questions that's hot on social media is we see other school districts around us that have had what I would call more exotic maybe calendars. They've had some different days built in, and the committee considered all that. We had a great, robust conversation with the committee. Talk to me about those calendars that other districts have, and how our committee felt about that, what their feedback was.
Well, one thing that we received in our responses through social media outlets was to be able to look at what surrounding school districts were doing as far as calendars. So we sent about 15 calendars in advance to our district committee to look at options, and then we went around and discussed those. And so they did tell us that they wanted us to go ahead and survey our community as far as we wanted a fall or a winter break, meaning a week. That's what you see around our school districts or surrounding school districts, that they have that week off.
Typically October or February. Correct. Or both, some places.
Absolutely. Right? So we did. We actually surveyed our community, and about 70% in our community responses said that they did not prefer to have that. So that's one of the reasons you'll see in some of the calendar options that we're going to show here in a little bit that it didn't make it to that cut because it was something that committee looked at. Some other things that they noticed is that other school districts are able to have less instructional days because they add additional minutes to their day. And we are the only school district in the surrounding area that has 4 different levels of schools, because we have elementary, we have intermediate, and then we have junior high and high school, or 3 levels, like we like to call it, elementary, middle, and high school. And with that, we have a tiered bus system.
Right.
So that's one thing that we looked at. We looked at calendar minutes, we looked at start times. They had a big Excel sheet that had all of these information. And they realized that when we look at our bus transportation, and for some of you parents already are experiencing this, some of your kiddos aren't coming home till 5:30 at night. And that is our third tier, which would be our junior high and intermediates. And that was a big concern to them. If we added additional minutes to the day, like some of these surrounding school districts add about 20 minutes or 30 minutes to be able to provide these week-long breaks.
Right.
That would mean our kids would come home at 6:20, 6:30. And so the committee was like, they were willing to be able to say, add maybe 5 additional minutes to the day, which gives us about 2 flex days, from 175 instructional days to about 173. So that's what they tasked us with.
And there's 2 pieces of that. One, we believe in school days.
Absolutely.
Like, school days are important. Any day that a kid gets to come in and be in front of just a great teacher is a difference maker. But also those kids that need free and reduced lunch and all the different, access to a counselor, all those things that happen at school. So we believe in school days.
Absolutely.
In other districts, as you said, you may not hear them saying the words adding minutes. It just may be that they already have minutes added. So we look at how long the instructional day is at many of these school districts, and their instructional day may be 30 minutes longer, which means their teachers work 30 minutes longer every day, but it doesn't mean the teachers get to work less days. So teacher contracts are based on number of days, 187 days. We're not hourly employees, so you work as long as you have to work on those 187 days. And so part of what we heard from the teachers on the committee was, well, hang on a second. So you want to add 30 minutes to our day every day, but we're still going to work the same number of days even if the kids don't have to come to school? And the answer to that is yes, that's the way that works. And so our feedback from some of the teachers there was, well, that doesn't sound nearly as exciting as it originally sounded like it might be. And then I think we also heard the parent voice on that it's for parents that are able maybe to travel and do some things. Having a week off in October or February is great, but for parents that have to work, just that week off in the middle of October is hard. Childcare is hard. And what do we do with the kids? Are we going to have kids at home unattended? And that was a concern. So it was robust conversation. And I know the people out there might think like, well, Conroe ISD never considers these things. We absolutely spent a ton of time with the committee, looking to that. And beyond the committee work, we surveyed the community. The survey was very strong. 70% said that's not what we want.
Exactly.
So it drove us to the calendars that we have out right now.
Correct.
Right,
we have a couple versions, A through F, and we wanted to walk you through some of those to
so
kind of talk you through what we have in front of you.
If you go to our website, and we'll pull right back up here to the main Conroe ISD webpage. Calendars is at the very top, so you can just go right up here. You can click calendars, and you can see that school calendar process right here in the middle of the page. Click on that, and you'll come in and you'll see calendar drafts. And once again, there's A through F, so we have put a lot of pieces out here, but there are really just a few components to think about with the calendar process this year. One of them is the winter break, and others are kind of when do we start, when do we finish. So let's just look at draft A. We'll spend a little more time on draft A because that will help us with the basics, and then we'll move quickly through the other draft calendars. So on draft A, let's see, our start of school, Dr. Upshaw,
is October, not October.
Not October.
August
the people
the 9th.
that is one thing we find out in the survey is everybody wants to start school late, get out of school early, and have as many days off possible in the middle of the year. That doesn't work.
It doesn't.
we have a certain number of minutes we have to go to school, a certain number of days our employees have to work. So no, we don't get to start in October. We're going to start in August. August 9th, midweek start, which
Correct.
is
very popular.
which was popular in our surveys.
It's preferred.
We hear that anecdotally all the time, but it was also very popular in our surveys. Now, if I could just point out something here that does concern people is the 9th feels early to a lot of people. So we understand that. So that's maybe a potential negative to a calendar that starts this early is the 9th does feel early, but it comes with benefits along the way that we can point out. So we look here into October. I think that's a significant piece here. That is a 4-day weekend for students. Is that right?
It is. That's also the end of the grading period.
Okay.
If you look at that, that's one of the privileges of being able to, and in our feedback we received in social media outlets, some folks are saying, well, where did that ending date, where did October 6th go? Well, if we start later, then the end of the 9 weeks doesn't end on the 6th, it ends on the 13th, which you'll see in some other versions we'll go through, kind of affects that end of the grading period, because that's something also that is also popular on the vote or in the feedback in our surveys, is that people, our teachers and our community, do appreciate having that half day off when the 9 weeks ends, especially our teachers. So you'll notice that as a pattern in our calendar.
And they like to have the first semester in before winter break.
Correct.
And then what we don't really always survey, because it's driven by just the numerical nature of the calendar, but also driven a little bit by UIL rules, is when our 9 weeks end.
Correct.
Because that's part of having our students be eligible for UIL, and the UIL pushes when that may be. So as you can see in this calendar, actually that 9 week ends there in October. November 7th, that's an election day. So you can see that's why that is a day off there. Traditional week off at Thanksgiving.
That is the most popular.
We have learned that is super popular.
One.
Never going to come off the calendar, I don't
won't.
believe,
We'll never
because
go
everyone loves it. Now, this is a big piece here that is a component. You see two different ways when Christmas Day falls kind of in the middle of the break. It creates a challenge on, are we going to leave for winter break earlier or later? Which means, are we going to skew the break earlier or later? This is an early skewed break, so we actually get out on the 15th.
We do, and actually calendar A looks almost identical to the current school calendar,
Exactly.
which 70% of our community is, well, 50% said they really like it, and about 20% said they're indifferent. So it's pretty much liked at 70%. And for the last couple of years, we have had an early winter break. And some of the feedback from the community has been that although school educators, it's okay to be able to say, well, we like to have the week after New Year's Day, right? So that means putting us back to school on January 8th. Our community has to get back to work.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that you'll hear in the feedback, is that we have not seen on the current survey, but it is feedback that we've received in the past, that really puts kind of a hindrance on the parents on, what am I going to do with my children on the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, or even the 2nd, because they do need to return to work.
A lot of people, they get their vacation days start over in January. They can't take vacation, so we hear that, certainly. So one of the main differences you'll see in the calendars that are up is half of them are early winter breaks, half of them are late winter breaks, and so that's a key component that you'll notice. Looking through the remainder, and so the negative side of early winter break is that we're coming back early.
We are.
So for a work day and staff development, employees are coming back on the 2nd, and students are back in this one on the 4th. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Which creates a 2-day school week, which is hard on kids and families, and so we know that's usually bad for attendance. That's a negative of this calendar as well. But then moving forward, we see a 4-day weekend. In February, we see spring break in March, where we tried to hit with Lone Star and Sam Houston. And then just one other point I would make here is another 4-day weekend, in March and April there, having Friday and Monday off. And then we get out of school in May.
Before Memorial Day.
Before Memorial Day, which is very popular as well.
That is also one of the, when asked parents or asked our community, would you prefer to start late and end late, or start early and end early, meaning end before Memorial Day? And that is preferred. Again, 70% happens to be the trend here in all our responses in the community.
Ending early is very popular.
So calendar B is the same, almost identical as calendar A. The only difference in calendar B is that we added the 6th before the 7th. We did have in November. We did have about a 4% drop in attendance rate on that day. So it was something that the committee, the district committee, asked us to consider. So right now, this calendar is the most popular by only 23%.
Okay, so we have a survey. We're going to show the survey on here. Here's where we need you all. The survey right now only has about 3,500 responses. Our previous survey had over 10,000, or right at 10,000. And right now, there is no leading candidate for a calendar, and there's no leading candidate for which winter break we want to take. So right now, we're in a position where nobody's going to be happy. So we need more people to take the survey so we can hopefully get some more distribution across. So Once again, right now B is a popular choice. Let's go down and C, and we'll just point out quickly any differences with C.
Calendar C just starts a week later. So
Okay.
it's a later start, August 16th.
All right, 16th.
And there's some variances in some of the staff development dates here and there because of the 9-week ending that we
Right.
had mentioned. And here's one calendar that has a later winter holiday.
Okay, so we can see the later winter holiday here where, I'm going to zoom in a little, where actually students have a half day on the 20th. The 21st is actually a staff work day, so the staff is working on the 21st. The staff's winter holiday would start on the 22nd.
Correct.
Now with that, you get the whole week following the new year off, and as you said, that's popular with some, it's not popular with others. One of the things that we try to be aware of and conscious of when we're looking at any of our winter breaks is that in many divorce decrees, or families that are dealing with that, December 28th is often a day that custody changes. And so we try to think about, finding balance, and this does play a role and finds maybe a little more balance here when you do the later break as well. But when you start late, a week later,
You end late.
You end late, and so we're coming back after the holiday, after Memorial Day, and anytime we do that, it's a constant chorus of what are we doing? Why are we coming back after Memorial Day? Nobody wants to come back after Memorial Day, and I understand that. But that's, if you start late, you continue to go later. So let's look at D.
D is the least popular. Only 11% of our 3,600 responses right now are out there. Here, the biggest difference here is that it doesn't have the holiday weekend at a 4-day weekend on April the 29th, March the 29th. Normally we would have the April 1st off. We moved that to the 15th because there's been feedback about there was no break after spring break or at all in April. So so we went ahead and removed that Monday and then put it on the 15th.
But this is still late start, late ending, coming back after Memorial Day. So that's D. Let's go to E.
E has a Monday start, which that allows us to be able to end closer to the end of Memorial Day, as you can see that on the calendar, but it starts on Monday. So it's August the 14th, not very popular in the community.
Yeah, Monday starts are hard. People may ask, why is that? It's hard on our systems because you have a full week before you can make any adjustments. When we start on Wednesdays, if we need to reroute buses or make changes to any procedures on a campus, after 3 days you get a weekend, you can do all those things. But also, it's just the first week of school is hard.
It is.
So people are tired, and by people I mean the little ones that come to our schools, but also our older kids are tired and our teachers are tired. So there is a lot of benefit to getting 3 days of school in, getting that weekend to catch up and go. So, but this does allow you to start the school year a little later, right? And still get out before Memorial Day. So that's, it does do that. This one has the later winter break as well. So that's something to point out here with draft E. So, and then let's just look at F real fast, and then we'll kind of recap where we are.
And the only difference in F from E is actually that the winter break is
the early
goes back
winter break
to the traditional winter break
so
we've been taking.
If you like the latest possible start with still getting out before Memorial Day, you're an E or an F person. Now, what you understand is that means there's less holidays, built-in days off throughout the calendar, because that's just how that works. But if you like the late winter break, you like E. If you like the earlier winter break, you like F.
Correct.
Right? That's the simple piece of that. So really the point here is we need your feedback, right? We got to have you. We're mandated by the state of Texas to have so many minutes of school each year. So we will do that. We're going to have all those minutes. We have to. And we want to have school days. Our teachers are going to work 187 days, regardless of which calendar we pick. It's just a matter of how many staff development days they will have, or how many days with kids, and what does that look like. So you and I are working the same number of days, regardless. So it really makes me no difference. I don't think it makes you that much of a difference. Although you are mom, I don't know, your boys might care, especially for their senior year, they might care. But talk to your kids and get their opinions and see how it fits in your family. But we need you to take the survey. Please take the survey, because that's the information we need to take back to to the committee and eventually to the board. Like, they want to know, they're asking you, they want to know your opinion. We need you to share it with them. And let me show you here back. I'm going to run back to the web page and show you the survey. So here on this same page, you can see the calendar survey. So the first question, what are you? Well, I am a Conroe ISD employee. This is an important question, right? The important first question that guides you as to which, so you don't have to look at all 6 calendars. Once you answer this question, you know if you are a fan of A, B, or F, or C, D, or E. Do you want the early winter break or the late winter break?
This is important.
It is.
Only 38 votes
separate the two
right
so
now.
Right now, we're in a no-win situation. Half the people that have completed the survey want one, and half the people want the other. So I'm not trying to influence you because I do not care, but I'm just going to click the first one here so that we can move forward through the survey. So once you select which winter break, it guides you as to which calendars you may want to consider, and then you go here and you can see the breakdown of the calendars, and then you can go down and vote for the calendar that you think fits your family the best. And from there, you want to make sure you hit done so that it is submitted, and we receive your response. So that is the calendar survey. I'm not submitting it. So if I didn't pick the winter break you like, everybody, I didn't submit, so I didn't skew the vote in any way. So once again, all the information is here. It's available. We want the feedback from everybody. So please, if you would, share the survey. The first calendar survey, am I right? Close to 10,000 responses?
Correct.
Or more.
10,000.
Yeah.
Actually, those survey results are on the website as well if you are curious what decisions influence the drafts that we brought before you. I also would like to encourage you, something we've seen in the last couple of years on the survey is students are actually going on
they're
and voting
submitting,
they're
which is
submitting.
Cool. Yeah.
So, I mean, you can talk about it like a family, like you mentioned, to be able to go in and vote as well. So can you do one as a parent and one as a student? Absolutely, I would encourage that. Another thing to just consider is what I've seen is there's a lot of feedback in our social media outlets, and that is fabulous because we take that point taken and we take it to the district level, but we really need you to go online and fill out the survey for us, because this is really where we weigh a lot of our decision.
It feels good to comment on Facebook or whatever app, but that's not true data. Like, there's no way for us to pull that and put it into a raw data form. The only place that we get raw data is from the survey. So make whatever comments you'd like to make, but just know that if you really want your voice to be heard, you have to fill out the survey. That's the only way that we're going to hear you, and we want to hear you. So fill that out. It's just kind of, we want this conversation back and forth. So the survey is up. You can complete the survey. We encourage you to complete the survey and help us out with the calendar, with the goal, once again, to talk to our district level committee in
January,
early January, and then the board meeting is the 19th.
It's the
17th.
The goal is to bring a recommendation to the board in January.
Hopefully, January 17th, we'll be able to, the board will be able to approve a calendar so that you will know what the next 18 months will hold for your family, and where you'll be in December and every other day of the year, and you can book vacations or book those special events that you need to book along the way as well. I'm going to take a peek here and just see if we have any questions. I think we are in good shape on questions. There's going to be a lot more conversation. I mean, here we are. It's December. We talk about maybe a potential future bond in November of 2023. So we are 11 months away from that potential happening. So we're going to have plenty more opportunities to have conversations about that. But all the information is already on the website. You can go and see that. And as this process continues, every bit of information and data that we have regarding the bond, or every bit of data on the calendar, is up there as well. The surveys, we're trying to be very transparent with you, let you see everything that we see, so that you can understand how and why we make those decisions. Once again, the point of why we do these events live and we have these conversations with you. So please get out, fill out the calendar survey. If you're interested in serving on a bond committee, or you know somebody that would be great, please fill out that information on the bond website so that we can reach out. And we really want to have the greatest bond committee possible so that we can make the best decisions for our community moving forward. To think about the prospects of adding 30 to 50,000 new students in just the next 10 years is daunting, and we can't do it alone. We're not staffed here to be able to do that by ourselves. We need the community to help us do that. We're asking you to be a part of it. We hope that you will. We look forward to that. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays from all of us here in Conroe ISD, our 71,000 kids now, our almost 10,000 employees. From all of us to you, we say happiest of holidays. Hope that this season brings you peace and joy, and a Happy New Year to you. We'll look forward to finishing this semester out strong next week, having a great break, and returning in 2023 to make it the best year ever in Conroe ISD. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Buenas noches.